Here at Miller Park, the sun is shining today. A big crowd expected on this Saturday evening for the second game of this three-game series between the Reds and the Brewers. And the game at the start will be pushed back a few minutes. They are expecting, as I mentioned, a big crowd of over 40,000. They are giving out bobbleheads. Hank the Dog bobblehead. We'll explain more about that as we get into the game. And new security systems being put forth by Major League Baseball. We've seen them at Great American Ballpark. They're happening here tonight as well in Milwaukee. All that means the game will start a few minutes later than initially scheduled. And hi and a pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh. As we mentioned, second game of this three-game series. The Brewers were a winner last night. A walk-off base hit in the bottom of the ninth gave them a 3-2 win. And so, Chris, tonight, Reds will throw another young pitcher at Milwaukee. Let's talk about David Holmberg, but not about a start that he's made, about a great relief appearance he made his last time out.
You know, you never know in this game where you're going to have an opportunity that just comes up and slaps you upside the head, and that's really what happened to David Holmberg a few days ago when he was sitting in the bullpen. Dylan Axelrod was on the mound and he pulled a side muscle, and they pulled Holmberg in from the bullpen. And what did he do? Well, he went 5 2/3 innings against a Cardinal team that has made its living beating up on Reds pitching. But he did not allow a run. He pitched very well. In fact, he earned another start while Axelrod is still nursing that oblique strain. Holmberg will be the guy today. He is facing nearly an entire lineup of right-handers here with the Brewers tonight. It ought to be a good test for Holmberg. And, of course, he's had 4 days to think about what he's going to do tonight.
Holmberg for Axelrod, Axelrod for Bailey, so it goes on and on.
Well, it does go on, and it doesn't go on the other side when you're talking about Yovani Gallardo. He was an opening day starter here with the Brewers. He's a guy that has started 5 opening days overall. That is a franchise record here in Milwaukee. But what has he done lately at home? Not so much. 0-5 with an earned run average of 555. Not only that, they're not scoring very many runs for him at all. He's only 28 years old, but scouts that have seen him pitch recently tell me it looks like he's worn out on this time of the year. So we'll see if the Reds can capitalize on a couple of hanging breaking balls from Yovani Gallardo to put some runs on the board.
Well, he'll make his 30th start of the year here this evening. 6th time in a row he's done that. Now, there are some very good numbers put up by Reds hitters, Chris, against Gallardo.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why you're really optimistic about the Reds offense tonight. If you look at all these guys, they've got 9 home runs in the lineup tonight against Gallardo career-wise. Jay Bruce over 300, Frazier, Ludwig, and Phillips way over 300, each of them. Ludwig especially has done a lot of damage with 11 runs batted in, second most against Gallardo than any other pitcher he's ever faced. So these guys are feeling pretty good, I'm sure, when they settle in the batter's box.
All right, well, tonight, the middle game of this three-game series here from Miller Park, the Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. As we mentioned, we will be getting into this contest a little bit late. When we come back, we'll take a look at a key position in the NL Central, the catchers. Many good ones on almost every team in the division. Ford, Go Further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Well, the catching position is very important, and that's what we look at tonight on our IGS, bringing the energy this year in the National League Central Division. You've got four of the best catchers in all of baseball out there. Jonathan Lucroy, Devin Mesoraco, Russell Martin, and Yadier Molina. And each brings their own ball club a little something different. You see the batting averages for all of them. The home runs, obviously Devin Mesoraco is the power source, and runs batted in as well. But what they do more than just put themselves in a good offensive position is that they run the team. From behind the plate, you know, you're handling every pitch that is thrown. You're the guy that is really the team leader and oftentimes the team captain. And if you just look at what the intangibles are that each of these guys bring. Jonathan Lucroy, a middle-of-the-order hitter, over 300. He's always in the middle of some kind of rally that the Brewers seem to have going. His caught-stealing percentage is lowest of all at 23.8%. Then Devin Mesoraco, the power source, 23 home runs. He's getting up around 25% of the caught-stealing percentage. And then you have the two veterans in the league, in Russell Martin and Yadier Molina. I'll tell you, the Pittsburgh Pirates would not be where they are right now without Russell Martin. There's no doubt about that. He throws them out nearly as well as anybody in the league. And anybody in the league, well, that guy is topped by Yadier Molina. Not only does he throw out 50% of the runners, but he simply does everything there is to be asked to do for the St. Louis Cardinals. And you can see their record when he is healthy versus when he was not healthy, and it is really a big difference right there. But those are the guys that are the game changers for each of those four teams.
All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, Jim Day will sit down with Reds center fielder Billy Hamilton, the Reds 2014 candidate for National League Rookie of the Year.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Getting set to do battle in Game 2 of 3 on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi again, everyone. I'm Jim Day. My pleasure to welcome in Red center fielder Billy Hamilton. We talked about this on the air. You had told me that last September, man, you hit a wall. You were tired. Can you talk about the difference last September to this September?
You know what I mean? It was this year. I mean, I guess it was something I was looking forward to. Last year, not knowing going into September, I was going to get the call up. So I was just planning on just finishing that season strong, which with the season ended early. But I ended up getting that chance. But now knowing that I was going to be playing in September, I kind of took a different level to how I work out my body and how I treated myself during the season.
Numbers in the second half, you would think the decline in numbers would have nothing to do with the wear and tear in your body?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, I mean, like you said, if I was getting on base more, I'd be running more and doing more things. I mean, but either way, I'm going out there and play defense. I wouldn't say it's declining, my numbers are declining, but I still got to go out and play defense and run and everything, so I'm still putting wear on my body. But as of right now, I feel good. I mean, feel like everything is healthy 100%, so that's all I need.
A lot of pressure on any leadoff hitter, but particularly when you're a rookie. Can you assess how you feel you've done this year?
You know, I mean, I feel like I've done a pretty good job. Could have been better, and I still got a chance to finish the season stronger than what it is now. I mean, the second half hasn't been going the way that I wanted it to go, but as of overall the whole season, I felt like I've learned a lot and becoming a better player each and every day. I'm coming here to learn something. And like I said, I mean, I wish it could be better, and I'm going to work hard to finish these last few weeks out and hope to finish strong.
What have you learned at the plate? How are pitchers attacking you now? Is it something that the scouting report, it catches up with everyone? What are the adjustments you think you have to make?
I have to make. I mean, I just gotta. I can't worry about what the pitcher's doing. I gotta be myself. I gotta let the game come to me and not try to go get the game. That's one thing I've caught myself doing multiple times this year, is just trying to do too much and just like trying to actually get on base and not just play the game and let my ability take over. And I learned to just relax and play the game, and it worked out for me, and I still do it. I get to the point where I feel like I'm not doing well, and I want to try to do more, and it's just making it worse. So I mean, I've learned that over the whole season, so that's a good thing.
Do you think about winning Rookie of the Year?
I mean, it's there. I mean, it's not something that I'm thinking about every day, like, because that's going to put a lot more pressure on me too, as in when I was in the minor league and the stolen bases was coming up, and I was trying to beat the record, and that was in my head a bunch, and I was just like, I got to get on base, I got to steal this amount of bags, I got to get the record, and it wasn't helping me at all. So I took that into this year. When we start talking about Rookie of the Year, I can't just think about that, because I try hard, and end up failing. So now I'm just relaxed. I'm just trying to finish the year strong, and if it happens, it happens.
With that in mind, when you get on base, are you still putting your pressure on yourself that I got to go, I got to steal a base, and at times maybe not running would be the smart thing and not be caught stealing so much?
Yeah, that's in my head. I mean, I don't feel like I got to get this amount of stolen bases now. I mean, as of the second half, me and Brian had to talk about when to go and when not to go, so I've actually stopped, not as ran as much as I've been wanting to. I mean, I've been learning the pitchers. I mean, I've been learning guys who's going to be way quicker to the plate, and it's something I've learned over the course of the season. So that's all about learning.
You worked on bunting heavily in spring training. Going into the offseason, is this something that you're going to continue to really work on in the offseason and spring training to become a better bunter?
Yes, this offseason is mainly really about bunting this year. I mean, I'm going to work with different guys. Actually, Broxton's one of my real good friends, and he's trying to set me up with somebody that's going to help me bunt. So that's a really good thing. But yeah, this offseason is mainly really about bunting. I'm going to bunt the whole offseason. I mean, I'm going to rest as much as I can, but also I'm going to be getting my bunting in. So that's going to be a big offseason for me.
We've got more with Billy Hamilton to come if he'll stick around. Stay with us on the other side. We'll get to know Billy Hamilton, Red center fielder, when we come back on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day, back with you. Pleasure to welcome in again Billy Hamilton. Let's talk about you as a person. We've talked about this on the air, but you had a big choice to make between playing college football at Mississippi State or playing baseball. Take us back to that decision.
You know, it was one of those decisions that me and my family both made. I mean, it was a real quick decision. I mean, it's not my best sport. Basketball was my best sport, and football was something that I really played well, and baseball I really loved. That was my first sport ever playing, and I knew I was going to play baseball at some point, with college or trying to get to the major leagues. And so family sat down when I got the chance, and we just decided that we'd rather go ahead and get it started now than rather wait and go to college and something end up happening and me not getting the chance to do it. And I feel like as of right now I made the right decision. So, but football is still there, especially when it come on like now during this football season, and it's just, you're like, man, I wish I could have played that. But you also playing baseball, I'm like, okay, I'd rather be here than play college football. So it was kind of a great decision.
Basketball is your best sport? That's something I did not know. Is that what you said?
Yeah, basketball is my best sport out of all three of them. I played all three of them in high school, and basketball is my best sport.
I bet you have a mean, quick crossover.
I do have a good crossover. I also shoot it really good, too.
If we were to play horse and you spotted me an H, would I get another letter?
If I spotted you an H?
Yeah, the H. We're playing horse. Would I get any more?
No. You won't get no more. That's it. That's all you'll get.
That's what I figured right there. All right, what in your off time, when you're away from baseball, whether it be an off day or in the off season, what do you like to do?
You know, like I'm one of those guys that like to do like the Kings Island stuff, like the appearances. I like to go around to like being around with the kids and stuff. Like my last off day, I did a Kings Island thing. That's one of the things I like to do. If you can set me up for that, like on every one of my off days, I'll be down for that. I mean, I'm more of just relaxing guy, sitting back playing video games and enjoying my day off.
If we were to go to your apartment, what is one thing in your refrigerator you have to have, or in a cabinet?
In the refrigerator, you'll probably see a whole thing of Mountain Dew. That's one thing I got in my fridge is Mountain Dew.
Favorite food?
Favorite food is, I'll take shrimp. I'm a big seafood guy, and shrimp is one of my favorite food.
Very, very nice. Me as well. All right, Billy Hamilton, appreciate the time. Good luck the rest of you. You are, I think I can speak for Reds fans. You're a pleasure to watch. It's fun.
I appreciate it, man. I try to do my best to make everybody see something exciting.
Well, that's one thing we can always expect, him doing his best and working hard to be the best player he can. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll send it back to Cincinnati. We're warming you up for the Reds and Brewers on your home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio.
Ready for the second game of the series. Veteran Yovani Gallardo against the rookie Billy Hamilton. To get things started, first pitch of ball, and we are, albeit 15 minutes later than the normally scheduled 10 after start time, underway here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Boy, that was a nice piece Jim Day did with Billy Hamilton, wasn't it?
Really nice. You know, Billy is so candid and so fresh. It just gives you great insight to how this kid just loves to play baseball.
Apparently he loves being out in the public. He said his off days he likes to go out and see the kids and do things like he did at Kings Island earlier this summer. Good to hear. That's for
He
sure.
takes a lot of that, I think, from the book of Brandon Phillips. Does the same thing. Brandon, I mean, if there's an adult that likes to ride roller coasters more than Brandon Phillips, I have not run into him yet.
Billy is rung up to get this game started by 28-year-old right-hander Yovani Gallardo. Take a look at the Reds' batting order here tonight. Brought to you by Meyer, Hamilton, Pena, and Frazier. Mesoraco, then Brandon Phillips. Look at those numbers against the Brewers this year. And then Bruce in the 6th spot. Bottom 3 include Ludwig, Cozart, and the lefty David Holmberg getting his 3rd start of the year for Cincinnati.
Well, you mentioned he's 28 years old. He's 6'2", 210 pounds overall. And for Yovani Gallardo, this is career start number 209.
He finds his way inching ever upward in the all-time records of the Milwaukee Brewers in terms of starts, in terms of wins, in terms of strikeouts. In fact, in strikeouts, he is the franchise's all-time leader.
Well, he's a young guy that recently, though, has a hard time winning here at home. We showed you in the open how he is winless in his last 5 decisions at home. His earned run average is pushing 6. And when the Brewers need him the most, really nobody on this ball club as a starting pitcher has stepped up and decided to be the ace. And that's one of the problems during their recent slide.
They celebrated, of course, here last night in the bottom of the 9th inning when Lyle Overbay lined that single in the left center field against Jumbo Diaz, giving them a 3-2 win, their 3rd consecutive win. Couple that with a Cardinal win means they stay 4 games out in the National League's Central Division. And to the wild card for this Milwaukee club, they are still on the outside looking in behind San Francisco and Pittsburgh. The Brewers a game and a half out of the wild card picture. Pena playing first base today after catching last night.
It looks like the idea that Gallardo is doing here with Pena is just throwing him high outside fastballs. They don't want to allow Brian Pena to pull the ball. That's where his power is. He can get the ball the other way, but if you elevate it and put it on the outer part of the plate, you see the swings that Brian Pena, that's not his strength in the strike zone, and they're trying to stay away from him.
On the ground, Ricky Weeks getting the start here this evening for the Brewers, and there are 2 men out. Milwaukee defensively lines up like this, brought to you by your Ford dealers. In the outfield, Chris Davis is back in there today. Gomez is in center, Braun is in right. The infield is Ramirez, and that is Gomez also at shortstop. That is Hector Gomez. Ricky Weeks and Jonathan Lucroy on the right side. Yovani Gallardo and Martin Maldonado make up the Brewers battery here tonight. There's Chris Davis back in the lineup today. Davis has had some right forearm tightness. He's been in and out of the lineup here as of late. They get him back in there tonight against the left-hander David Holmberg. For 2 out, the batter is Todd Frazier. Todd at 276, 25 long ones, tops on this team. 74 runs batted in, also leads this ball club in that department. Last night in the game 1 for 4. He had a first inning single, stole a base. It gave him 20 on the year. And puts him in the club that we talked about last night, along with Aaron Boone and Chris Sabo. The only Reds' 3rd baseman, of which 3rd is their primary position, to have at least 20 home runs, 20 steals in a year. Aaron Boone actually did have them all as a 3rd baseman, as did Chris Sabo. Frazier's, some of his numbers have come at first base, but his primary position over at third. Frazier now a hit in 6 of his last 8 games. He had a pretty good homestand, 8 for 27 with a pair of home runs, 1 against the Cardinals, 1 against the Mets. He is one of the 4 Reds that we highlighted during the Open that has really handled Giovanni Gallardo very well. There's his numbers against Gallardo: 346 with a home run, 9 hits total. He and Phillips, Bruce and Ludwig have all hit them very well. Pena and Mesoraco, in limited number of at bats against Gallardo, have done well also. Slicing into the right field corner, and into the stands it goes. Big crowd on hand on this Saturday night. We mentioned the game got started 15 minutes late due to the new security measures put in place by Major League Baseball. The Brewers really doing it for the first time with a big crowd like this on hand, and also the bobblehead giveaway of Hank the dog. There it is. Remember, we talked about it in spring training. They had a dog kind of meander into their spring training complex in Maryvale. The Brewers had sort of adopted it, brought it back north with them, kept it here all year. Frazier takes strike 3, 2 strikeouts in the inning, both looking by Gallardo. Trying to steer this Brewers club back into the position in which they have held all this 2014 season. That is first place. They are right now in third, and they have the Pirates ahead of them, and of course the Cardinals lead the division. They come in at 77 and 71. Here's the lineup he presents tonight, brought to you by Meyer, Carlos Gomez, Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy, Aramis Ramirez, 33 career home runs against Cincinnati. Then Chris Davis, Ricky Weeks, Martin Maldonado, Hector Gomez batting 8th, playing short, and Giovanni Gallardo against his left-hander for the Reds, 23-year-old David Holmberg.
Well, we mentioned last night during the ball game that the Red starter Daniel Corsino really pitched well because he was able to keep the Brewers off his fastball by throwing for strikes a myriad of different types of breaking pitches, changeups and sliders and so on. The changeup tonight for David Holmberg will be the pitch that he's going to have to rely on once he establishes that fastball.
It's Carlos Gomez to lead it off.
The bigger the swing, the more you're susceptible to a changeup. And I don't think there's a bigger swing in baseball than the guy in the batter's box right now.
Gomez hitless in the game last night, 0 for 4, although he did reach base and ultimately score in the 4th inning when he struck out. Wild pitch. The ball got away. He eventually came home to roost on a base hit by Lucroy. Starts the game at 285. 21 homers. He's driven in 68. Look at that. Swings so hard, he falls down.
Well, those close to the Brewers will tell you that he doesn't mean anything by it. He's not trying to show up the hitter. This guy is just wired tight, and he is like that on the airplane. He's like it off the field. He's like it in the clubhouse. I mean, he lives it hard, just like he swings.
Uses that bat as a crutch to prop himself up when he doesn't make full contact. He did it just there. Wow, what a swing. Certainly worth another look at that one by Carlos Gomez. We saw him last night swing so hard his helmet kept flying off.
I think he can swing a little harder still.
That one hit him in the leg. On a 3-2 pitch from Holmberg. Gomez hit by the pitch, and that's the way the Brewers' first inning starts. So in that plate appearance, he hit the deck twice and almost a third time. The Brewers leader in stolen bases with 30. Gomez is aboard. Here's Ryan Braun, elevated to the number 2 spot in the order here tonight. Checks in at 275 with 19 long ones, 80 RBIs. Number 80 came last night in an RBI 4th inning single. He was one of the 2 Brewer hitters that the Reds passed intentionally in the 9th inning to get to Overbay, who hit the first pitch he saw out in the left center for the game winner. Times in a row, Holmberg over to first base.
Hey, 14 more of those and he can tie a record.
Held by one Chris Welsh. Who was the runner when you did that?
Vince Coleman.
Okay.
There's a good reason for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he stole on the 18th time. You know, the key is, though, I mean, you can throw over and you can vary your moves and you can be quick and step off and just try to upset the timing of the runner, but you still have to keep your focus at home. I mean, you've got Ryan Braun in the batter's box. Don't start worrying about Gomez at first when you're pitching to this guy.
Way up and out of outside at 2-0. You saw those numbers for Braun. He's hitting only .250 against the Reds this year with a couple of home runs, and they handled him early, but boy, lately been swinging a good bat against the Reds.
Well, he's really battling a thumb injury. He had his right thumb has been killing him for a long time, and now he says that the pain is extended really throughout the rest of his whole hand. And he's certainly not the Ryan Braun that we're used to seeing. But he'll be looking for something to hit here on a 2-0 count.
Holmberg making start number 3 for the Reds tonight. You know about those other 2, both at home, one against the Cubs, one against the Braves. He could not get out of the 3rd inning in either one of those. In fact, the lines are almost identical, 2 2/3 in both. 5 runs in the first one, 6 runs in the second one. Walks hurt him in both of those games. He's fallen behind now here 3-0.
You know, early on what I'm seeing from David Holmberg, different from what he did his last time when he came in relief. Well, he's just not being aggressive with his fastball. He was throwing his fastball inside last time. You've got to come in a little bit to buy that outside corner, and he's just trying to feather everything on the outer part of the plate. That is a certain problem coming up.
Gomez is running. The pitch was high. It's ball 4. So after Gomez is hit by a pitch, Braun draws the walk. First two have reached for the Brewers. Really, Holmberg was not close on any of those pitches.
Well, he's been up and away on everything, and that's a certain indication that your arm is lagging behind. You're flying open. There's another thing that pitching coaches should tell you to do, and Jeff Pico has been working with him in the bullpen, and he probably has one thing in his mind that says, all right, this is the one thing you've got to concentrate on to kind of get your delivery back. The worst thing that you can do out there right now is to tell Holmberg several different things to think about, like, hey, Jonathan Lucroy, by the way, is one of the best run producers in the league, so keep the ball down. No, you can't worry about any of that stuff. You can't worry about the guys on base. You've got to go that one thing in your delivery that will allow you to throw the ball where you need to.
Holmberg has never faced the Brewers before. He pitched primarily at AAA Louisville this year, going 2-6 with a 4.66 ERA.
You know, the good news for Holmberg, and you have to think positive if you're out there, is that I'm a ground ball away from getting 2 outs out of this inning. Right now, I just need to make the pitch right here to Jonathan Lucroy, have my defense turn it behind me, and I'll be 2/3 of the way out. That's the way you have to approach this at bat.
And he gets him with a strike to get it going.
Hey, if you're going to get a called strike like that, live down in the zone.
Holmberg, 6'3", 225, born in Houston. Went to high school in Port Charlotte, Florida. Drafted by the White Sox back in '09. And he gets another strike in there to the Brewers catcher. No balls, 2 strikes. Lucroy in his .302 average, 6th best in the league. 13 homers, he's driven in 65. Leads all of Major League Baseball in doubles. Picked up his 51st last night. Reds go down in order in the first against Giovanni Gallardo. Holmberg laboring at least early here in the bottom of the first inning against this Milwaukee club. Aramis Ramirez on deck. Reds received Holmberg in that 3-team deal this winter that sent Ryan Hannigan ultimately to Tampa Bay. Involved the Reds, the Rays, and the Diamondbacks. Blocked by Mesoraco to keep the runners where they are.
That first breaking ball that we've seen Holmberg throw right here, really not a bad spot for it. You're ahead in the count. You're hoping Lucroy may chase that pitch. He didn't. Here's the 2-2 pitch, though. This is the one you want to get a decision on.
Lucroy a pair of hits, including an RBI in last night's game. Double play ball. They're going to get him out at second. Mistake running the bases by Carlos Gomez. And now a ball dropped, but ultimately they will get him at third with Holmberg putting on the tag. Carlos Gomez forgot the situation right there.
Well, we're going to come back to the play, but first we're going to show you the entire at bat here with Holmberg and Jonathan Lucroy. Falls or gets ahead 0-2 right here, then nibbles a little bit, misses with a fastball, bounces the breaking ball. Now he wants to get a decision here. He does. Change up right to the shortstop, and they're thinking too, but hey, Gomez is going the wrong way. Maybe he thought that ball was going to be fielded on a fly by the shortstop Cozart. It wasn't. But the Reds turn a double play, an unusual type of double play. They get the force at second, and then Gomez between second and third So the best possible scenario short of a triple play just happened for David Holmberg.
You'd put that into the category of a toot bland, would you not?
I would indeed. I also credit the Reds for pretty good defense out there.
So they get the double play. Instead of having a runner at third with 2 out, there's a runner at first. Lucroy with 2 men gone for Aramis Ramirez.
I mean, if Holmberg can get out of this inning with no damage at all, you talk about winning this inning and shifting the momentum of this ball game completely around. I mean, this crowd was working up a little bit. First 2 guys on base, the meat of the order coming up, and now it's as quiet in here as you ever wanted to hear it.
And now Holmberg is ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Look at this now. Watch Gomez. He's going the wrong way, and he thinks, oh, boy, I made a mistake there.
You know what? He didn't think that ball was going to be caught on a fly. He just didn't know there was a man at first base. That is a major toot bland. A brain cramp or worse. Thank you very much.
Ramirez hitless last night, 0 for 4. Did he get plunked by that? He did. Holmberg hits his second batter here in the first inning. It skimmed off the backside, it looked like, of Ramirez, sending Lucroy down to second base.
Well, right now he's just over. He doesn't have a release point on that curveball, and that's what hit him right here. There's no malice intended, obviously. He just flips this breaking ball up here and holds on to it too long. You do that when you're squeezing it a little too tight.
So now it's Chris Davis. Davis did not play yesterday. In fact, he's had back-to-back days off due to that right forearm tightness that's been bothering him. In there against the left-hander. He's another one that takes a big cut. Not like Gomez, but still pretty darn big.
I mean, the only guy in this inning that doesn't really overswing. Well, Braun doesn't. I mean, for the most part, Lucroy. But Aramis Ramirez had big swings. Carlos Gomez, obviously. This guy never gets cheated.
He leads the Brewers in home runs with 22. In fact, one of 3 players that has hit over 20 on a club that is right near the top of the National League in long balls. How about the sock look that he's got going today? That's the old-fashioned look right there. The sanitary socks with the stirrups over them. There's Holmberg again, a pitch away from getting through this inning. Not a run crossing the plate.
Now he ought to tell himself, look at the success that I'm having by keeping the ball down the zone. I'm getting calls down around the knees for strikes. Hitters are check swinging on those pitches. They're not picking them up right. Got to stay right down there.
Fly ball to right. Bruce is there, and through all that, 22 pitches in the first inning, David Holmberg hangs a 0, the bottom of the first. with MLB.com's easy and free game, Beat the Streak. Pick players to hit in 57 straight games, and you could become a millionaire. Play MLB.com Beat the Streak today. I finally got on the scoreboard again yesterday with picking Matt Holliday, picking Jose Altuve. Each of them had, in fact, a pair of hits yesterday, so I go into today at 2. Been as high as 10. Stuck at 0 though for a while.
That's where I'm stuck. So don't feel bad.
So I'm 2 ahead of you right now.
There you go, doing math in public again.
I know. Nazarako was not in the lineup last night. Did appear late as a pinch hitter and struck out. Back in there today against this right-hander Yovani Gallardo. He comes in at 282. 23 home runs, 73 batted in. 3 for 9 lifetime against this right-hander. He got him on 3 pitches.
Now, early indications from Gallardo that he's not pitching tired, or is his stuff not sharp at all. We thought last night that Kyle Loesch's breaking ball was a little bit flat. It was kind of rolling up there. You cannot say that at all right now for Gallardo. He looks fresh and throwing the ball very efficiently.
Coming off of a terrible outing his last time out against the Marlins 5 days ago. He gave up 6 runs, 9 hits, and 3 2/3. Struck out 1 in that game, but the 1 strikeout did give him the all-time franchise lead in strikeouts with 1,207, surpassing Ben Sheets. He had gone into that game tied with Sheets at 1,206. He's fanned 3 of the first 4 Reds that he has faced here today. By the mound, toward the bag. Weeks will make the play. Throw to first in time. Had that ball kicked off the base, Phillies probably had reached with an infield single, but it just missed the bag.
Well, every pitching coach goes out and preaches first pitch strikes, but for Yovani Gallardo this year, it is really very important that he throws pitches over the plate on the first pitch, and the results are undeniable. After he throws the first pitch ball, the opponents are hitting .317, and 10 of his 15 home runs given up have been hit after he throws the first pitch ball. But he gets that first strike in there, that batting average drops down to 181 and half as many home runs. So he can really go to town when he attacks the strike zone early.
Which
and
is
he's
what
done that now.
Today, yeah.
4 out of the first 6 batters that he's faced.
Well, he gets Bruce here with 2 men out. Jay at 216 with 16 homers. He's driven in 60. Hit last night 1 out of 4. He's one of the big 4 we talked about prior to the game that has had very good fortune lifetime against Gallardo. He's hitting .319 with a pair of home runs against Yovani. Driven into right, but right at Braun. So 6 up, 6 retired by Gallardo. They're the first 2 here tonight.
Hank the dog, who has become somewhat of a celebrity here in Milwaukee. I'm Jim Day. In fact, it's Hank the dog bobblehead night, as I'm holding the bobblehead right here. You may have heard the story. A stray dog in spring training in Arizona kind of came upon the Brewers at their facility, and they took this stray dog in, and it suddenly became the team mascot, and everyone rallied around Hank the dog. In fact, they created Hank the dog shirts. He's made appearances, and before the game, they gave a check to the Humane Society because Hank the dog and all the initiatives have raised $130,000 for the Humane Society. Hank the dog now stays with Marty Wronski, who's the general counsel of the Brewers. So kudos to the Brewers team for taking in a stray dog, obviously, and then turning that into an ultimate positive. Hank the dog, quite the celebrity.
Isn't that something? Thank you, Jim. That little things like that can all of a sudden raise big-time money for charity. And, you know, the same kind of thing when Marty said the Reds win 10 in a row, I'll shave my head. And
yeah,
things like
you
that.
really never know what's going to take off. Old poor Hank the dog wandered into the Maryvale complex. He had been hit by a car. He had 2 chipped teeth. They sent him to the veterinarian. They had him all taken care of. They put him on the team charter to bring him up here. And he was a major hit. In fact, when they finally made the T-shirts and they put them on sale, they sold 1,000 T-shirts in the first day, an all-time record. And these T-shirts were selling for $33 per. 20% of it went to the Humane Society, and it just goes on and on and on. The Brewers had more than 1,000 offers from people who wanted to adopt Hank the dog.
They've kept him in the family. He's become, as you said, the mascot. I understand he was under the weather a little bit this season, but they've nursed him back to health. He looked pretty strong down there.
Well, when they found him, he was, I think, only about 10 pounds. And by the time spring training ended, he was at 15 pounds.
He went from living on the streets of Maryvale, Arizona, living in the lap of luxury here at Miller Park.
I wonder what he's going to think about a Milwaukee, Wisconsin winter after being from Phoenix. He may want to go back to Maryvale a little early for spring training next year.
Never know. Certainly a great story, and I don't know of any other mascot of a pet variety that has his own bobblehead like Hank does here.
I wonder if his bobblehead actually bobbles or whether his tail wags.
Maybe both. David Holmberg trying to get the leadoff man here in the bottom of the second. Ricky Weeks getting the start against the left-hander Holmberg. Scooter Gennett is their regular second baseman. He really bumped Weeks out of a job midway through the season last year. And he comes right at Weeks with the fastball. Gets him swinging, and out number 1.
Well, the quicker the bat, the more susceptible you are to that changeup. And Weeks has a very quick bat. You pull the string on him a little bit, and you get him out in front. And so now after you get that first inning out of the way, if you're David Holmberg, you kind of now have thrown enough pitches that you know what's working, what's not, and you're kind of getting into a groove right here.
Deals now the catcher Martin Maldonado, making a second consecutive start behind the plate. Maldonado made a name for himself a couple of years ago here when Lucroy was on the disabled list for a good part of the year. He stepped in and was not only good behind the plate, they knew that, but actually hit pretty well. Last night was 0 for 2. He pops this one up, and Phillips makes the play for the second out. So now Holmberg an opportunity for a 1-2-3 inning if he can get by the shortstop, Hector Gomez. Hector getting a start in this game in lieu of their regular shortstop, Gene Segura. He spent most of the year, did Hector Gomez, playing for Rick Sweet down in Nashville. Showed some power down there, this 26-year-old. With the AAA Sounds, he hit 15 home runs, drove in 49. Big league time in the past with the Rockies.
He came into the ballgame last night defensively and showed a rocket arm across the infield.
These are 2 balls and 1 strike. Diving stop by Cozart. They're going to get him. He will not. Well, has pretty good speed down the line, but credit Cozart with a heck of a stop on that ball. Like he tore his glove up in the process.
He's shaking his head like thinking maybe I should have been able to get this guy. But look how far he goes just to get to the ball. And the ball bobbled away a little bit from him. The throw off the money would have been right on the money in order to get him. But a good effort anyway by Cozart.
Looks at that replay when he dove. His glove got kind of caught. It popped off his hand. Ball popped up in the air. We'll see Holmberg work from the stretch here against a pretty good hitting pitcher in Yovani Gallardo. This year he's hitting only 104 with 5 hits, but lifetime a 195 hitter with a dozen career home runs. This one's between the mound and home plate, and Frazier comes in to make the play. Gallardo is retired, and so are the Brewers in the bottom of the second. Need the services of Noah Spence in today's blowout win of Kent State, but read why the linebacker remains suspended. Gunnar Kiel's college debut resulted in a record for the Bearcats last night, plus Munchie Legault made his miraculous comeback for UC last evening after thinking he may never play football again. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports on foxsportsohio.com. Scoreless through 2. The bottom three in the Reds order here after 6 straight retired by Gallardo features Ludwig, and on the first pitch he sees, he lines it right at the veteran Aramis Ramirez. The line out by Bruce ended the second. A line out by Ludwig starts the third. Here comes Cozart. Zach starts the game at 224, 3 home runs. He's driven in 36. Had a hit last night. In fact, was on his last 3 times up. A hit, a walk, a walk. Trying to become the first Reds base runner here on this Saturday night in Milwaukee. And he gets ahead. 2 balls and no strikes from Gallardo. 12-game winner last year. He had that stretch last year. He went on the disabled list for 2.5 weeks with a tight left hamstring. When he came back, he said he felt refreshed, renewed, invigorated, closed the season on a high note. No trips to the DL for him this year. Mentioned earlier, this is start number 30, marking 6 consecutive years, or 6 years in his career that he has made at least 30 starts. He did get to 31 last year, so it is 6 straight years.
The other thing is that he throws a lot of pitches too. I mean, he averages over 3,000 pitches per season.
Chance to see the arm of Gomez. He unloads it, but the throw had LaCroix going up off the base, and Cozart is aboard. That'll be an E6.
Well, he's got a good gun. You can see the way the ball comes across the infield. He just throws it high. I'm not so sure he really sets his feet right. I guess he does. Just cut it loose too high.
LaCroix went up to get it, and he made the catch, but in doing so, his foot came off the bag.
You know, the old saying when you're an infielder like that is if you're going to make a mistake, throw it low. At least you give the first baseman a chance of picking it out of the dirt. If you throw it high, he's got no defense.
Now Holmberg, who throws left but bats from the right side, trying to move the runner along. He had 1 at bat in the game against the Cardinals on Monday in that relief appearance. Well, with the AAA Louisville bats this year, 3 hits, 14 times up. Saw him in the dugout talking with Steve Smith between the innings. He's probably going over the signs with the third base coach.
Could be that Steve Smith told him, all right, the bunt is on until I take it off. Here's the takeoff sign. I don't have one.
I'll just be running through all sorts of signs down there. You look intently at me, doesn't mean a thing to you. You're bunting.
This is where you can really help yourself as a pitcher.
Gets the job done there. Nicely put down by Holmberg. Gallardo to Weeks for the 1-4 putout, putting Cozart in the scoring position. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. And don't forget, a little bit later on in the game, we'll have tonight's AT&T fan photo of the game. 2 out. Billy Hamilton gets the chance, his second of this game. An RBI opportunity for him. You saw the graphic earlier. He only has 8 RBIs in the second half of the season, after getting 38 in the first half. He's still .288 with runners in scoring position this year. Hold on strikes to get the game started. That's one of the interesting things that he said to Jim Day was basketball, he feels like, is his best sport.
I'd hate to have to try to guard him.
Very difficult.
I like the fact that Jim Day suggested that if we play horse, Jim Day that is, with Billy Hamilton, and that if Billy would spot Jim Day an H in the game of horse, how many more letters would Jim earn? And Billy said none. Game over. I think he's just telling it like it is.
Yeah.
No bragging if it's true.
He said he was a great shot.
I don't know, though. You know, Jim Day, finely tuned athlete that he is.
You're not taking into account my 2-inch vertical.
I mean, you don't need that in horse. All you need is a couple of trick shots.
What we are taking into account is your set shot.
Wow, I'm not that old. Come on.
Your Rick Barry shot. Yeah, your underhand free throw.
Hey, you know what?
Set shot Buford.
That can be a winner in a lot of horse games.
I think we should have it. I think I could get a letter on it. Might have to do that in spring training.
It'd be worth taping and watching, that's for sure.
Guys will both have to sign release forms.
Lucroy will field this ball, race to the bag, and he wins it against Billy Hamilton, putting an end to the Reds' third. They get their first base runner, Strand their first runner. Defensively brought to you by your Ford dealers. Here's how the Reds play it tonight. Ludwig, Hamilton, and Bruce in the outfield. Frazier, Cozart, Phillips and Pena on the infield. Holmberg throwing to Devin Mesoraco. Holmberg ready to work against the top of the order, and Carlos Gomez hit by a pitch to start the Brewers' first inning. Then went to second when Braun drew the walk on a 3-2 count. That one is out of play, a ball, a strike. I mean, he was running on the 3-2 count to Braun, and take a look at a couple of the most talkative guys in baseball right here, Gomez and Phillips.
Now this is ball 4.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure what Gomez is saying right there. Brand is pointing to the board saying, you know, it is ball 4, but Mesoraco didn't know that, so he can't take a chance.
Cozart. Gomez is retired.
Yeah, well, take a look at that again. And I think what's happened here is that Gomez was accusing Brandon of trying to do the old hidden ball trick. That acted like the ball went into center field. He's 0 for 2. 0 for 1.
He kept pointing all the way. You see, he was tracking Brandon where that ball might have been. Brandon was saying, look at the scoreboard. You can see it right there. Gomez would not bite.
He said, you got the ball in your glove. And Brandon's like, no, it's out there in center field.
One trying to fool the other.
Infielders love doing that. Jimmy Rollins is good at that.
We see Frazier do it over at first base when he's there. You never know when someone might bite on that. Like Gomez was shoving about 10 pieces of bubble gum in his mouth there. Hope that's sugar free.
You know, last night we commented during the game that Daniel Corsino, although he was always ballyhooed as a terrific prospect because of his fastball, signed at an early age, at age 17, but when he finally makes it to the major leagues, he really got by last night on off-speed stuff. And here, David Holmberg kind of taking the same type of strategy here today against the Brewers, a good fastball hitting team, trying to keep him off balance.
Had a chance to talk to Corsino today down in the dugout prior to the game, and he said it was a thrill to be out there last night, and he can't wait to do it again. He may very well get the chance. He's listed as a probable starter in the Cubs series. There's strike 3 called to Braun, but that's in case Latos is not ready. We won't know yet for a few more days.
I don't know how he could be ready. I mean, he hadn't even thrown off flat ground. I mean, if Latos has been pitching with a condition for several starts now, I'm not sure of the upside of trying to push him out there in the rotation to make a couple of starts. That, you know, if his arm is barking at all, I don't see the benefit.
After today, only 13 games remain for the Reds, and if you do the math divided by 5, that's not even 3 starts per starter.
There you go again.
Lucroy hit that ball to the shortstop Cozart in the first inning when Gomez made the base running blunder out at second base. End result was him being tagged out at third by Holmberg, who went over there and took the throw. Working on him here at 0-2. He gets him on a fly ball. The shallow right. Phillips and Bruce. Brandon stays with it. Phillips makes the play, and there's a 1-2-3 third by David Holmberg. Junction 109, the Reds Connect Zone offers free Wi-Fi access, charging stations, and portable batteries for mobile devices, plus 27 screens of games coverage, tweets, Instagram photos, trending topics, and much more. The Reds Connect Zone, presented by our friends at Miami University. Pretty good job by David Holmberg, particularly after those first 2 or 3 batters of the game. Chris, he's settled in rather nicely.
Well, that's the thing about sometimes when you're a sinker changeup pitcher like Holmberg is, the first inning can oftentimes be the toughest of all. Especially when you walk the first guy or you hit the first guy, essentially a walk, and then walk the second guy, and all of a sudden you're looking maybe not even getting out of the first inning. But once you settle down, you can start adding and subtracting, and that's what he's doing right now. And it's a good thing, too, because Yovani Gallardo is on his game. The Reds are still looking for their first hit.
Pena, Frazier, Mesoraco trying to get the Reds offense going here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, we made a Saturday open like Gallardo's been really bad, and that's only part of the story. He has been bad at home the last few starts, but he's pitched some very good games recently. 3 starts ago, he pitched 6 innings of shutout baseball against the Padres in San Diego. And prior to that, you go back to August the 16th, and he outdueled Clayton Kershaw in a ball game in which the Brewers hit a couple of home runs. Kershaw pitched a complete game in that game, and Yovani Gallardo pitched 8 innings and ended up getting the win. That was only the 3rd loss that Kershaw had. In fact, the first loss since May, when the Reds beat him behind Homer Bailey.
There's solid contact and a base hit into center.
So you could say that Yovani Gallardo has done his best to try to get Johnny Cueto the Cy Young Award.
And we appreciate that help. Leadoff man aboard. First hit by the Reds goes to Brian Pena. Now it's Todd Frazier. Took a called 3rd strike to end the 1st inning. Bats here in the 4th. The Reds have seen an awful lot of Yovani Gallardo throughout the years. Tonight, the 24th time he has started against Cincinnati. That equals the number that he has made in terms of starts against Pittsburgh, the most against any opponent. Made 5 starts against them a year ago. This is his 4th start against them this year. And overall 7 wins, 7 losses against the Reds. Spins him around. Helmet goes popping off of Todd Frazier.
You don't like to throw one up around the face. There's no question about that. I think Gallardo wanted to hump up on that one a little bit and throw it hard and high and just cut it loose a little bit early. Comes right back with a fastball again.
is a patented Frazier base hit into right field. Just kind of threw the bat at the ball, one-handed. Into right it goes. Back-to-back hits for the Reds here in the fourth.
Well, Todd had to figure after being low bridge there that Gallardo eventually was going to come down and away. And down and away he did. In fact, that ball nearly in the dirt. He just kind of goes down there and golfs it into right field.
2 on with nobody out for the heart of the order now. Devin Mesoraco. Mesoraco 2 at-bats in this series. Both have been strikeouts. Fanned his first time. That was to start the second. Pinch hit in the game last night. In the 7th inning. Hit against Brandon Kinsler and struck out. That was a big scoring chance for the Reds right there. It tied the game at 2. Had runners at the corners and 2 out. Mesoraco hit and struck out.
Now Gallardo, who was so crisp and so efficient through the order the first time, is now struggling a little bit. Good spot to hit one right here for Devin Mesoraco.
We highlighted the catchers in the National League Central, one of the segments of our Open tonight. And boy, this division, when you think about it, they are really loaded with some of the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. And you include in that bunch Devin Mesoraco. He leads all of them with home runs in 23. The other guys we mentioned in that, of course, Jonathan Lucroy, the normal catcher here every day, Russell Martin, and of course Yadier Molina.
Mesoraco now going to get a look at a 3-1 pitch. There's Lucroy. Started at first base last night. Started there again tonight. Did move behind the plate late in the contest last evening. Full count.
You know, I think that last pitch really shows some maturity in Devin Mesoraco, because a 3-1 pitch, it doesn't mean you have to swing the next pitch. Just because it's 3-1, it's a hitter's count. You got to get a good pitch to hit, and that was a pitcher's pitch, and he laid off of it.
Well, he lays off that one, which is ball 4. So now the Reds have loaded the bases with nobody out against Gallardo. A hit, and now a walk. Phillips comes up there, bases loaded, nobody out. Brandon this year 1 for 4 with the bases loaded. No score here in the fourth. Reds threatening. Well, he's not missing by much on some of these pitches, but the Reds are laying off. Calls going their way. Single to center by Pena. Single to right by Frazier. Walk and a 3-2 pitch to Mesoraco. And ball 2. Now Martin Maldonado will go to the mound, as will their pitching coach, Rick Kranitz.
Yeah, he's gotten to the point where he's trying to nibble right now, trying to make the perfect pitch. And, you know, he's seen his team have a great scoring opportunity in the first inning and then waste it with some bad base running. And he realizes how important this ball game is to the Brewers. And this is really the difference right now between the Reds playing loose and goose and just having some fun out there versus the Brewers that are all wound up tight. They're watching the scoreboard. They're wondering what the Cardinals are doing. They're wondering what the Pittsburgh Pirates are doing. Where they stand in the wild card race. can I afford to give up a run right here, or will I lose a game and there's a season on the line? Those are all the things that are going through the minds of the Brewers right now. And Yovani Gallardo is pitching like he's a little bit tight in this inning.
Well, meeting on the mound is over. Phillips gets a look at a 2-0 pitch right here, coming from Yovani Gallardo. 2-1. Cubs are leading the Pirates in Pittsburgh tonight 3-0. That game is now in the 5th inning. Philip Dubron on the mound for the Cubs in that game. Cardinals up 4-0 at home over the Rockies. Ball 3. They jumped out to the Cardinals early yesterday in a 3-run first inning homer by Matt Holliday. They get 3 in the second tonight. Here is ball 4 low, and for some inexplicable reason, Yovani Gallardo having trouble locating here in the 4th. Reds take advantage. Back-to-back walks. This one with the bases loaded. The Reds, for the second game in a row, have taken a 1-0 lead. RBI 48 for Brandon Phillips. Now it's Bruce.
No activity in the bullpen for the Brewers, but I got to imagine that's going to change pronto, and certainly it does. They're going to quickly get somebody up and loosening right now before this inning gets out of hand. Bruce hit a bullet his last time up.
This one in the air toward left field.
Davis doesn't throw very well.
Will make the catch. Here's the tag by Frazier. He will come home. Tagging from second for the Reds was Mesoraco, and he's caught in a rundown, and he is tagged out.
That's not a good play at all. So there's been a toot land now for each team. First you have to know the outfield arm, and Chris Davis simply doesn't throw the ball very well at all. He's an offensive player, and he's going to throw a rainbow that barely gets over the third base bag right here. So that ball's going to be cut all the way, and I'm not really sure where Devin Mesoraco thinks he's going. I know I cannot understand. He's trying to maybe pick the pocket, but maybe he didn't realize that Davis just doesn't throw even well enough to get the play at the plate there.
They'll go 7-5-6. The shortstop Hector Gomez putting on the tag. The Reds do get a run out of it on a sac fly by Bruce, giving him his 61st RBI. Now it's Ludwig. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Brewers consider themselves lucky to get through this with only 2 scoring and without the Reds getting a big hit. Holmberg will take the mound with the lead when he goes back out there. Phillips still over at first base. In the bullpen for Milwaukee is the right-hander Rob Wooten. 2-2 now to Ludwig. Here's another one hit the ball hard his first time up, lining out to third. Big pitch inning this inning for Gallardo. He's at 67 overall, 29 of them here in the top of the fourth. Reds scored their second run last night on a sac fly by Brian Pena after getting the home run by Negron early. That was the extent of their offense. They picked up 2 in this game. Bases loaded, walk to Phillips, sac fly by Bruce. Strike 3. Fourth strikeout for Gallardo. Doesn't give up the big hit, but does give up 2 runs to the Reds in the fourth. Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And enjoy Boneless Thursdays at B-Dubs with specially priced boneless wings all day. What a steal. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Nighttime upon us here in Milwaukee inside Miller Park. Seats just shy of 42,000, and they're expecting in excess of 40,000 here tonight. Hank bobbleheads, the team mascot dog, as Chris was telling the story of earlier from spring training. Holmberg to the mound with a lead as he pitches here in the bottom of the fourth inning. So he had 5 2/3 innings of shutout relief against the Cardinals. 3 into this one. To the wall. That gets the Brewers on the board. 8 2/3 innings with a shutout baseball by Holmberg. Started with that game against the Cardinals and on in here to Milwaukee. Ends with that long ball by Ramirez, his 15th of the year.
Now, you make a mistake and you're going to give up a long ball, and you can see where that pitch was for Holmberg. Waist high is not the place to be. But the good news is it's a solo shot. Home runs happen. And you go right back to throwing your stuff right down there at the bottom of the zone.
He comes into this game 6th all-time Major League third baseman in home runs. That one number 365 as a third baseman in the big league. Closing in on 5th, Craig Nettles is whom he's chasing now at 368. Guy's played a long time, 17 years in the big leagues. in the National League Central. He's played for the Pirates, he's played for the Cubs, he's played for the Brewers. He's had a pretty darn good career.
You're darn right about that. He has been a very fine player. And really an underrated defensive third baseman, too. Not one of those guys that you hear about, or that you really put in a conversation when you talk about great defense and National League third baseman. Aramis Ramirez is not the first name that comes up, but he is more than solid. I mean, you don't last 17 years in the major leagues unless you're doing it right.
Strike three called, sends Davis back to the dugout. Aramis Ramirez, the Reds have been able to keep him at bay by and large this year. That is the third home run he's hit against the Reds, but he came into this game hitting under 200 against Cincinnati pitching. Bounce back strikeout there by Holmberg of Chris Davis. Now it's Ricky Weeks. Reds get two in the fourth. Brewers have answered with a home run ball by Aramis Ramirez here in the bottom half. Well, back-to-back nights for the Reds. Young men going to the mound. Last night, Corsino, who had turned 24 in August. David Holmberg, still a bit younger than that at 23. Both gunning for their first major league win. Corsino pitched well enough to get it. Holmberg doing the same here tonight. Weeks a fly-out victim, and there are two out. The most popular way to follow the September pennant races is with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.tv game of the day, much more. Get At Bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com. Two out for Martin Maldonado. This will be a heck of a job staying focused by Holmberg after giving up the home run ball to Ramirez to come back and set down the next three. His pitch count at 65.
I've always really thought that a leadoff home run in an inning, a solo shot like the one that Ramirez hit, is a rally killer. I mean, it gets everybody all juiced up, but it's only one swing of the bat. It's one bad pitch by a pitcher. It's not like I would much rather, if I'm going to give up a run as a pitcher, I'd much rather do it that way than have two guys on and then have a base hit and then be pitching out of the stretch and all that kind of stuff. So you forget about it as quickly as it happened. You go right after the next guy. That's exactly what Holmberg has done.
Kind of thing we've talked about with Johnny Cueto. He's given up a lot of home runs, but almost all of them have been solo.
Does not seem to bother Johnny one bit.
Second walk given up by Holmberg. He walked Braun back in the first in that shaky start. Now walks Maldonado here in the fourth.
Yeah, the question is really whether Martin Maldonado is ever really going to hit enough to be anything but a backup catcher. But his defense is so attractive, and his arm is so good behind the plate that they have actually talked internally when he was in the minor leagues of turning him into a pitcher. They put him on the mound one day and he was throwing 93 with ease, and they think that his arm is a 8+ as far as the catching is, but it's a 245 hitter this year. You wonder where he would be best suited. Probably where he is. Catchers are hard to come by,
particularly those that throw like he does. We thought Billy Hamilton had a terrific jump And his attempt of a steal in the third inning last night. Maldonado threw a laser down there and caught him at second base.
You know, we're sizing up Hector Gomez right here, and you watch his left foot. He is looking for something to pull right here. Very important for Holmberg to stay away.
Rockets this ball to center, but fortunately right at Billy Hamilton to retire the side. I mean, that reverberated through Miller Park.
Baseball. Chris Davis suspended for 25 games after testing positive for amphetamines. He will miss, if the Orioles go deep enough in the playoff, 8 playoff games. If not, it'll extend into next season. Michael Wacha pulled from the Cardinals rotation indefinitely. They just don't think that he's right. And Hyun-Jin Ryu left last night's game after the first inning with a left shoulder irritation. So those are 3 teams in contention that are, for the moment, going to have to do without 3 key players.
All right, thank you, Jim. That Dodger team leads the Giants by a game in the West. The Cardinals lead the Pirates by 2.5, and these Brewers by 4. Chris Davis's Baltimore Orioles have the largest lead in all of baseball, and an 11.5 game advantage over Toronto in the East. They've won 6 games in a row. They are closing in on the American League East title. I believe I read, wasn't it, that Carlos Martinez is going to move into the starting rotation for St. Louis, jump in there and take Michael Wacha's spot. He worked out of the bullpen against the Reds. Ozark leading things off here in the 5th inning. It's tough, isn't it? Tough to stay healthy for the entire 6-month season.
Well, it sure is. And you know, we've had so many injuries that have been season-ending injuries, not just on the Reds ball club, but all around baseball this year.
Headed toward the middle. Weeks will cut it off, but that's an infield hit for Zach Cozart. So the Reds get the leadoff man on via a hit. 2nd straight inning.
Well, you hit it back through the middle, that's your best chance for a ground ball that's going to go for a base hit. Shortstop Gomez playing her way around towards third base, thinking that Cozart was going to pull that ball, and so Cozart gets a knock.
So Holmberg has another opportunity here to try to move the runner along via the sacrifice bunt. He executed it in the 3rd, trying to do it here in the 5th. And we talked on the open about Holmberg being in the spot
That was Homer Bailey's spot in the rotation. Dylan Axelrod had taken that after Bailey had gone down with surgery on his right elbow area, flexor mass. Axelrod pulled from his start last Monday. The strained oblique. Pop up. That's the only out they'll get.
Well, if they were really smart right there, not that it would be a huge difference, but if they were smart, they could let that ball drop. And then go to second base to get the force, because Cozart had to go back to first. And then you make Holmberg run the bases in front of Billy Hamilton. That would clog him up.
If he would have reached. Those of you who are saying, oh, wait a minute, it's got to be an infield fly or something rule on that. No, not with just a runner at first base.
Well, no, not with a bunt either. You can never have an infield fly on a bunt. But really, I was just thinking, even just to switch the runners at first, you have the pitcher out there instead of having Cozart, who has average speed. You go to a guy with well below average speed and unsure of himself on the base paths. I mean, if Hamilton hits a double right here, you got a chance for Cozart to score. If Holmberg is on first base and Hamilton hits a double, not happening.
Billy 0 for 2 in this game. He took a called third strike, then grounded out to first. He's 0 for 6 in the series. 0 for his last 8 since he led off the Reds' first inning Thursday afternoon with a base hit to left against Lance Lynn. Cozart on the move. This ball to left. Davis will make the play, and Cozart will have to hustle on back to first base. 2 out. Don't miss Fox Sports Live as the crew brings you the latest news and highlights from around MLB, college football, NFL, and the rest of the sports world. Watch Fox Sports Live nightly on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Leadoff base hit. Cozart has stayed put. Now it's Pena. Became the first Reds base runner to reach via hit. That was last inning in the 4th. Came home to score the first run of the game. Maldonado from his knees fired a bullet down to first base. Cozart gets back in time. One catcher to another. Right in on the fist there of Pena. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pena, free agent acquisition by the Reds in the offseason, signed him to a 2-year deal. Former Tiger. In fact, he and Ramon Santiago both with that playoff bound Tiger team from a year ago. Into left field. Davis first broke back, now comes on. He has it. Pena retired. Inning over. Sports is proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives now. If you'd like more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Gallardo leads off here in inning number 5. Top of the order featuring Carlos Gomez waiting next. Every once in a while you see Holmberg throw one of those pitches that you talked about earlier. It seems like he's trying to guide it to a certain spot. Doesn't always go where he wants it to. Well,
you never really want to guide it. You just want to cut it loose because as you finish your pitch, that's where you get your action on the ball. That's also where hard throwers get that extra velocity or that little extra backward spin on a four-seam fastball that make it seem like it rises a little bit.
Cracked into right by Gallardo, but playable for Bruce. And the leadoff man retired.
Hey, getting that guy out is something unto itself, because Gallardo this year, not only has he hit 12 home runs career-wise, he also came up earlier in the year in May, and he pinch hit. They walked the batter to get ahead of him when the Brewers were playing the Baltimore Orioles, and he came up as a pinch hitter in extra innings and hit a double for a walk-off Brewers win, 7-6.
I mentioned he has a dozen career home runs. Twice he's had 4 in a year, so he knows what he's doing up there.
42 ribbies.
Here's the hard swinging Carlos Gomez. Hit by a pitch. He's grounded out. He's 0 for 1 in this game. 0 for 5 in the series for Gomez. Second straight year as a National League All-Star in 2014 for Gomez. At the end of this game with 21 homers, 30 stolen bases. He's the only player in the big leagues this year with 20 homers, 30 stolen bases. Swing and a miss as the helmet goes flying again. Cracks that thing with a bat. He's a strikeout victim. Number 4 for Holmberg.
Take that. That's the best contact he's made with that helmet.
Thank goodness that helmet didn't crack. It's made of sturdy stuff. 2 out for Braun.
Well, how satisfying is that for David Holmberg? To know that the guy that you're facing is so angry that you struck him out that he'll act out like that. Like a spoiled 2-year-old. I think he needs a timeout.
And I vote for you to go down into that dugout, mention that to him.
No, he's got a timeout over there. We'll let Jerry and Aaron take care of that.
Okay. Holmberg trying to have his second 1-2-3 inning of this game. And he should get it here on the Braun fly ball into right.
Boy, these guys are frustrated. He threw the bat too.
That retires the side. We head to the 6th. Holmberg is now eligible for a victory in this game.
individual goals, and I've exceeded them with stolen bases this year. And you know, you get the green light for the first time. You like to think yourself as a really good, you know, not base stealer, but good base runner. That's what I think I am. And you know, 20 stolen bases, it says a lot.
I'm Jim Day. Todd Frazier leading off. That's him talking about becoming only the Reds' third baseman in history to have at least 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases in the same season. Now, you think about all the years of Reds baseball and all the third basemen, and only 3 men have done it. Aaron Boone, Chris Sabo, and now Todd Frazier in 2014. And just like he said, you got to chalk it up to him not being a base stealer, but just an overall good base runner.
He's one of the guys that has benefited from Brian Price wanting to be more aggressive on the bases. He and Zach Cozart. Remember, Cozart hadn't stolen a base in a couple of years, and he has stolen 7 this year. Frazier, he had stolen a grand total in 3 years in the big leagues of 10. This year, 20. There's still 2 weeks to go. Frazier, Mesoraco, Phillips here in inning number 6. On a base hit into right on that low and outside pitch in the 4th inning. The one-handed swing through the batted ball. Dropped it in front of Braun. Vincent Gallardo in a number of categories. In the top 5 or so in Brewers history. His 89 wins. He's going for number 90 tonight. His 5th on the all-time list. His strikeouts is number 1. He has 4 in this game and now 1,211 in his career. 209th start is 6th on the all-time Milwaukee list. Every time we see Gallardo, he appears to have a different hairstyle going. Remember 2 years ago he had the real long bushy locks. Last year he was clean shaven. Now this year he's got a little different look going back there as well.
Do you keep notes on that, or do you just retain it?
I retain that, baby. Another hit by Frazier. That gives him 2 in this game.
You're like a regular old-fashioned police.
I just happen to notice those kind of things.
So give us a grade here on Giovanni Gallardo's style now.
Hard to tell with the hat on, but that looks pretty good on him.
Got a little mohawk going, looks like.
Not the traditional shaven sides, but shorter on the side, certainly longer in that mohawk middle.
Of course, he is from Oaxaca, Mexico, where he was born.
Remember a few years ago, or more than that, even when Johnny Gomes had that real mohawk look going during I guess that was all the way back to what, 2010.
He probably had one of those growing up.
Well, we've seen Matt Latos with that look in the past. Billy Hamilton has it kind of going right now. Mesoraco has struck out and walked.
He was so patient his last at bat, Mesoraco was, before he finally earned that walk on a 3-2 pitch. That time he went after a first pitch, maybe guessing fastball, got slider.
Hardy on that at 89. In the hole now, 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's tempting to say, well, I mean, 89 miles an hour, seemingly right down the middle. How can he possibly be late on that? But hitters don't hit the radar gun. They hit what they see. And Giovanni Gallardo is deceptive. And after you saw a slider on the first pitch, you swear the next pitch is a slider too until you're late on the fastball. That may be the best fastball velocity-wise that Gallardo's thrown tonight at 93. There was a time in his big breakout season when he won 17 ball games in 2011. He averaged about 94 miles an hour on a fastball. Had a lot of big overhand curveballs and sliders to go along with it. Now his fastball is toned down a couple of miles an hour. He's throwing much more in the way of two-seam fastballs down around the knees than he did four-seamers up around the letters, and a major increase in the amount of sliders that he's using rather than curveballs. So he's adapting as he gets older.
Right off the mask there, Maldonado. That hockey style mask going. Same cannot be said for Dale Scott, the crew chief, the home plate umpire. That rattles him a little bit, but really doesn't move the mask. Dale Scott's mask right there. He gets hit with a foul ball like that, and the whole mask will go flying. Some catchers don't like that, but you talk to the ones who wear it, they feel it gives them much better protection. 2-2 now to Mesoraco. Devin is one of those that does not use the hockey style mask, nor does Brian Pena. Tucker Barnhart is with this club now, although he's only played in one game as a starter since he was called up in early September. He is a hockey style mask guy. Afternoon game here tomorrow, the finale of this series. Final game for the Reds here at Miller Park this year. Well, they've won 2, lost 5, so they will finish under 500 up here. But could finish 1 under if they can win tonight, win tomorrow. Game tomorrow is at 2:10 Cincinnati time, 1:30 here on Fox, Ohio with Reds Live. Mike Leake against Matt Garza. Broken bat toward left field. Davis coming on. Davis makes the play. Brandon Phillips walked with the bases loaded his last time, producing the game's first run. Marco Estrada used to be in the rotation, now working out of the Brewers bullpen, starting to throw as Gallardo reaches right near the 100 pitch mark now. There's Marco Estrada. Phillips comes into this game 367 against Gallardo with a couple of lifetime home runs. Phillips at 367, Bruce at 319, Ludwig at 353, Frazier at 346. All against Gallardo, big numbers. Frazier's added to that with a couple of hits in this game. Rockies have gotten on the board in the 4th inning in St. Louis. Still a 4-1 game. Cardinals in front. Toward Gomez, the shortstop. There's one to Weeks. There's two to Lucroy. 6-4-3 double play. Second of the night, turned by the Brewers. Coming up September the 26th through the 28th, and they take on the Pirates at Great American Ballpark. Friday night, the 26th. Stick around after the game for a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Box Tops for Education and Kroger. For tickets, you can call 513-351-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. The star of the show right down there, Hank, giving the bobblehead away for Hank. They're trying to get him involved in the dog race here, but Hank says, I am not into the running thing.
See, I'm not a dog whisperer, but I have a couple of puppies. I get the look on Hank's face. I think Hank would like to do his business.
A little jog there by Hank. Now,
but there are 40,000 people here, so he's not a little uncomfortable, in doing that in front of a big crowd.
He says, look, I'm no hot dog. I don't want that bun on me.
He's gained a little weight since spring training, huh?
He lives in the lap of luxury here.
Man.
Cozart throws out Lucroy. One pitch, one out, bottom of the 6th inning.
Oh, that's a big out right there. You start the inning off with one pitch.
I'll go back to the home run ball by Ramirez and wondering how he was going to respond. And he's done a heck of a job retiring 7 of 8 since that time. Talking about David Holmberg. Speaking of, here is Ramirez. Cracks another one. Same spot. Left center, but this one a little shy of the wall. Billy Hamilton hauls it in. A good sound off the bat. 2 men out.
Just a little bit out on the end of the bat right there. That is the difference between going 400 feet and about 370 feet. I still get the impression that each one of these Brewers, that the way they're swinging, I mean, they're all trying to win the game with one swing of the bat. They're approaching this game, and last night's for that matter, as more of a home run contest than than really buckling down and trying to give the Reds pitchers as tough as the bats as they can possibly give them. Everybody's got their front foot, their right-handed hitters, front foot leading towards third, stepping slightly in the bucket, clearing their hips, and trying to jerk.
One hopper to Frazier. Low throw, but Pena digs it out. Second straight 1-2-3 inning. Make it 7 in a row now by Holmberg, who has held up through 6 in this one here tonight. Honda game summary. Todd Frazier walked, force in the run. Check that Phillips walk to force in the run. Pena across the plate to make it 1-0. Here's Bruce with a sac fly out to left field. Chris Davis will handle this, but Frazier will score. And it is 2-0 Cincinnati. That's when Mesoraco was caught in the rundown. Brewers get on the board on this one by Aramis Ramirez, his 15th of the year. He had another one in the 6th inning that came up a bit shy. So through 6, 2-1 Reds. That's our Honda game summary. 87 pitches through 6 for David Holmberg. So he's allowed 1 run in his last 11 2/3 with the Reds. Meanwhile, new pitcher for Milwaukee, the former Red, Zach Duke.
He did spend a little bit of time with the Reds. In fact, he pitched in 14 games with the Reds just last year. He was in and out of there really before you even knew it. He pitched 10 2/3 innings overall, gave up a run, and looked pretty good. So good that the Brewers ended up signing him, and they have gotten a lot of use out of Zach Duke. Now 31 years old, originally signed out of high school in Waco, Texas, by the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he made his major league debut and really pitched the majority of his 10-year major league career, 6 of those with the Pirates.
Long-time starter turned reliever. Yeah, he did a nice job for the Reds last year, late in the year. He'd been at AAA, asked for his release, came back to the Reds, ultimately ended the year in the big leagues with the Cincinnati club. So here he is as a Brewer. Giovanni Gallardo, 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, exactly 100 pitches. Bruce leads things off, then Ludwig, then Cozart. Appeal, and they say yes. Bruce went around. That's Dan Iasonia behind the plate last night at third base here tonight. No balls, 2 strikes. Who's hitting only 170 this year against lefties with 6 home runs. Sam LeCure throwing in the Reds bullpen. Holmberg at 87 pitches. This is a strikeout victim for the first time tonight. Batter will be Ludwig. Remember, stay with us after the game. Fox Sports Ohio. Break it down with Reds Live postgame, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Ludwig is lined out, struck out. Almost a quick pick chair by Duke. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he gives you all different arm angles, different speeds. He changes his delivery. I mean, he's just doing whatever he can to get you out. Doesn't care whether it's pretty or not. He's all about results.
Years old. That's really not old at all for a left-hander doing the work that he's doing.
Oh, he's got another 10 years to go. Stays healthy. These loogies can last a long time.
They signed him to a 1-year deal. He's put up very good numbers. Floated out to right, and that's a hit for Ludwig. A 1-out single gives the Reds their 5th hit of this game. Ludwig now a hit in 6 of his last 7. He's on for Zach Cozart.
Well, he jammed them with a changeup or a slider at 83 the pitch before. That time he climbs the ladder with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and Ludwig fights it off for a base hit.
Jason Bourgeois has come out on deck to bat for Holmberg. It appears the Reds will ask the bullpen to get the final 9 outs of this game. Again, LeCure has been up and throwing. He appears ready to work the 7th. If indeed David Holmberg is finished, he follows up that 5 2/3 against the Cardinals of no-run baseball out of the bullpen, technically, following Dylan Axelrod to the mound with a 6-inning, 1-run performance here tonight against Milwaukee. I mean, you're talking about 2 of the top teams in the division.
Well, yeah, and you're talking about, really, if you go back to the outings that Axelrod had, starting with what he did in Colorado when he came out there and had his first start, and then his second start very good. And then you look at Corsino last night, and the second time in a row now for David Holmberg. It gives you a little bit of optimism if you can trust September baseball.
Which you can't always do.
Well, some people along the way think that September baseball is very similar to what happens in the month of March. That, you know, things happen during the month when you get a call up that, you know, may not predict what you do during the entire season. But if you're a guy like Holmberg, what else you're supposed to do is go out there except try your hardest. You know, let the decision makers make their decision. Just make it tough on them to make it if it includes you.
Six innings of 1-run, 2-hit baseball for David Holmberg. In line to be the winner in this game if the Reds can hang on. They lead 2-1. Batting here in the 7th. Picked up as a fair ball. Maldonado will gun it down to first after waiting for a beat. has the effect of a sacrifice. 2 men out now for Bourgeois, the pinch hit. What in the world we have here?
Well, bobblehead night for Hank the dog, and that is in left field on our first bobblehead casualty.
Now Rick Kranitz is going to go to the mound as Bourgeois is announced as the pinch hitter. That in the actual field of play. Hank's head.
Got picked up, I think. They sent the dog catcher out to get it.
And talk about Bourgeois, who comes off the bench here. So indeed, Holmberg, 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. Heck of a job by the 23-year-old left-hander. We'll give way to Sam LeCure in the bottom of the 7th inning after a shaky start that couldn't have gotten any worse early, could it?
Well, you're right. I mean, and that may have helped him as the game went on to give him a little bit of confidence, but he goes out and he hits the first batter on a 3-2 pitch. He walks the next, and now you've got Jonathan Lucroy coming up there, the best run producer that the Brewers have. He gets him into a double play. The Brewers run into an out, and he gets out of that, and he puts nothing but zeros on the board except for one mistake pitch he gave to Aramis Ramirez. And you'll take that out of any starter any time. 6 innings, 1 run for Holmberg.
So here now is Bourgeois. 14 at bats with the Reds this year, 4 for 14, hitting .286. He's the team MVP for the AAA Louisville Bats in 2014, where he hit .278, 4 home runs, drove in 43. Veteran that's been around. That one caught Dale Scott, the home plate umpire. Knocked him for a loop there. He went down to a knee. Apparently Dale Scott none the worse for wear. See him shake his head yes when Maldonado asked him if he was okay. 2-1 to Bourgeois. RBI chance for him with a runner out at second base. Cozart. Pardon me, Ludwig. Bourgeois started the game on Thursday against the Cardinals in left field, went 0 for 3. He really, of the everyday players that have come up after the September call-ups, he's really played more than anyone else by far. Jake Elmore, Tucker Barnhart, Donald Lutz, they've all made one start, barely appeared other than that. It's going to be a tough play for Gomez. He'll bare hand and cannot come up with it. An infield hit for Jason Bourgeois. Moves Ludwig over to third. So Billy Hamilton will get a chance with runners at the corners and 2 out.
Well, any soft liner like this, Bourgeois runs very well. Not in Hamilton's class, but fast enough to make the shortstop have to hurry his throw. And Brewers might be lucky right there that Gomez didn't field that ball and fire wildly to first base. Now Hamilton bats from the right side. That's a rarity.
He's hitting .269 batting right-handed. This is, of course, his natural side. He's up there with a runner in scoring position. He hit in the third with a runner at second, 2 out. And he lines this one into the alley in right center. That's down for a hit. That splits the outfielders. That goes to the wall. Ludwig scores. Bourgeois racing home. He will score. That's a 3-base hit for Billy Hamilton. 2 RBIs for the Red center fielder. And it is 4-1 here in the 7th. Boy, that's good to see.
Boy, you're not kidding about that. Look at a big smile on his face as he clears the bases. Well, a little bloop and a blast in kind of a strange way. An infield hit by Bourgeois. This one a slicing line drive into the gap, and it splits him perfectly and goes all the way to the wall. Watch Billy run. I mean, he is pouring it on. Bourgeois has been waved around by Steve Smith. And an easy triple for Billy Hamilton.
His 8th triple of the year.
Very, very quiet. In fact, a lot of people are getting up, taking their bobblehead dogs, and heading for the parking lot.
Well, you just try to keep things alive as Jason Bourgeois did with that slow tapper toward the shortstop. You hustle down the line. You never know what's going to happen. Billy Hamilton, who has not had as nearly as good a second half as the first, comes through with a ringing triple to right center to make it 4-1 Reds. Pena batting from the right side. He has not been as fortunate this year from this side of the plate as he has been batting left-handed. Hitting only 194 from the right side. Jack Duke came into this game with an ERA of right near 2.3. And very good for the Brewers this year. The Reds are able to get to him here in the 7th. Give themselves a little wiggle room into the latter third of this game. To Duke. Inning over. But the Reds get a pair. 2-run triple by Billy Hamilton. Stretch time in Milwaukee. 4-1 Reds. Your photos using the hashtag #OhioFanPhoto. Here's meanwhile tonight's fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T. Vicky. Nicely framed shot right there. Thank you for the photo. Novata was a pitcher. You're probably pinch hitting there, Chris Heisey, because when he pinch hits, the ball goes a long way. Sam LeCure takes over for David Holmberg here in the bottom of the 7th. Holmberg 87 pitches, 1 run, 2 hits in 6, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 hit batsmen in the home run ball. And Sam tries to get a third of it done to get to the finish line of this game. Weeks, Maldonado, and Gomez. That's Hector Gomez. Here in the home 7th. First pitch swinging, bare hand pick and throw, and they get him. This Milwaukee club, you've talked about it a lot. They're an aggressive bunch. Weeks is out on the first pitch.
That's good defense. We talk about the Reds defense all the time. Watch Todd Frazier right here. He'll take kind of a chance bare hand, but watch him watch the ball right into his glove. Make sure that he gets, or not into his glove, but his hand. He watches it right in there, and then he gets a little grip on the ball and throws it to first base and makes that play look awfully easy. It is not. Of course, Todd has big mitts. They make it a little bit easier.
Both bullpens active. Jimmy Nelson, right-hander, throwing for the Brewers. Manny Parra, left-hander for the Reds. Martin Maldonado. Been on base once. He walked in the 4th. Brewers club came into the series 6th in the league and hitting at .254. Didn't generate much offense last night. 3 runs, 5 hits. 1 run, 2 hits so far in this game against a Reds team. But from a starting standpoint, started 2 young men in Daniel Corsino and David Holmberg. These Brewers, if they had heard of them, certainly didn't know much about them at all. Back toward the mound, and LeCure will throw him out. 2 down. Between Corsino and Holmberg, they give up 3 runs, 4 hits in 12 innings.
You know, and I would imagine that the Brewers, when they realized who was going to pitch in this series against their ball club with the Reds, first of all, they're happy they didn't see Johnny Cueto or any of the top line pitchers the Reds are bringing in here. But they had to be salivating, thinking, hey, here's this kid Daniel Corsino. We don't know him. Mixed results in AAA, making his first major league start. We're going to beat him up all over the yard. And same thing for Holmberg. But all of a sudden, you look up at the scoreboard. They did eke out a victory last night. The Brewers did, but it was a hard-fought victory. And tonight, the Reds are up by 3.
Well, Renicky was quoted in the paper today as saying we had no video at all really on Daniel Corsino. Didn't really know what we were going to get out of him other than what people were telling us.
Oh, come on.
That's what he said.
What did they do? What did he do when he was playing? They didn't have any video of those guys back then anyway. How about just going out and playing baseball?
Different game now, Chris.
You know, these guys are just so reliant on all this technical stuff to tell them what to do. That's the biggest excuse I've ever heard. We didn't have video.
I don't know that he was using it as an excuse. He simply was saying that that was a fact.
I don't know. I'm not sure how much video Pete Rose studied. Or George Foster, or Johnny Bench. How much? I never saw those guys in the video room because there wasn't a video room.
You need to calm yourself down now over here.
I'm excited about
you
that.
Are. Strike 3 called. Gomez didn't agree. LeCure gets a quick 7-pitch inning here in the bottom of the 7th, retiring the Brewers in order. Purchase 2015 All-Star tickets by becoming a Reds season ticket holder with plans starting under $9 per seat. Make sure you're here for all the excitement when the All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby, Fan Fest, and much more returns to the Queen City. If you'd like information on guaranteeing your All-Star tickets, here's what you can do. Call 513-765-7500 or visit Reds.com/2015. All-Star Game. What a great logo. Reds unveiled about a month or so ago at Great American Ballpark. There you see it. 2015 All-Star Game coming up at Great American Ballpark. The date of that, Tuesday, July the 14th. New pitcher, meanwhile, into the game for the Brewers, Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, big, hard-throwing 25-year-old. He went to high school in Niceville, Florida, and then did his college work at University of Alabama. Brewers picked him second round, 2010, 6'6", 250 pounds, and he can get it up there.
He's been starting for this club this year, 11 games, all starts. 2-7 record, ERA nearing 4.5. He works out of their bullpen here, following Zach Duke, who won an inning, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, and now Frazier in a bid for his 3rd hit. Cracks this ball into left field. He's got himself a single, and now he's going to glide into second as that ball appeared to come out of the glove of Chris Davis out in left field. The Reds get the leadoff man on.
Todd Frazier has nothing that he loves more than his family and fastballs. And he's thinking about fastball right there from Jimmy Nelson. A hard-throwing right-hander comes in and pipes one down Broadway, and he rips it down the left field line.
An opportunity now to build on a 4-1 lead. Todd Frazier, a 3-hit game. There's a line drive in the left field for Mesoraco. That's a hit. They're going to wave around Frazier. No throw home. That is the perfect play right there to know what you talked about earlier, the fact that Davis does not have an arm.
You're right about that. Smith knows that, obviously. He does review a lot of tape, and Todd Frazier knows it as well. The odd thing about that is the Brewers have to know that too. So why wouldn't you get the shortstop out there who's got a gun, get the relay closer to the left fielder, and then have him throw the ball to home? But instead, the shortstop kind of hangs back around and cut off to the infield, and he overthrows him in the first place. So, boy, the fundamentals that the Brewers are lacking here so far in this ball game have really been something that exposes them. They've run themselves out of a possible big inning in the first and maybe set the tone for the game. They've had 2 bad defensive plays in left field and a lot of swinging out of their shoes.
Phillips bats now. That RBI single by Mesoraco ties him with Frazier. Top honors and RBIs on this team with 74. Frazier came into the game meanwhile at 276. 3 for 4 in this game. He is credited with a double. That ball did come out of the glove of Davis, but estimation of the official score, Frazier was going to head on to second anyway. So Todd credited with a 2-base hit. Another base hit. Another one down the line. Davis cuts that ball off. Gets it back in. 3 batters, 3 hits against Jimmy Nelson, all well struck.
Yeah, well, it's all rocket shots. It's kind of interesting. Jimmy Nelson has not thrown a pitch slower than 93. And he's faced 3 batters and he's given up 3 bolts. David Holmberg did not reach 92 on any of his pitches tonight. Everything was less than that. And I don't think, except for the ball that Aramis Ramirez hit, he gave up another hard hit ball like Nelson has to the 3 hitters that he's faced. Just goes to show you, it's not how hard you throw it, it's where you throw it.
This guy's gotten beat around a little bit lately. Jimmy Nelson gave up 4 runs in 5 innings his last time out against the Cardinals. 4 runs in 5 innings 2 starts ago out in San Diego. 4 runs in 5 2/3 at Toronto on August the 20th. Things have not gone overly well for him. Bruce 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. 5-1 Reds. They've amassed 10 hits in this game. Logan Ondrusek throwing in the bullpen. Well, he came on last night and did a very nice job in the 7th after giving up a leadoff double. Came back, attacked Gerardo Parra, Lyle Overbay, and Ricky Weeks. Struck out all 3 of them. Number 99 there did not play the wall very well on that foul ball. Bruce, the only one of the everyday 8 for the Reds in this game that does not have a hit. Jammed there. Carlos Gomez gets himself in the throwing position, makes the catch. First out of the 8th inning. Ludwig had a hit his last time. He's 1 for 3. Reds 5, Brewers 1. Brewers had a hit with 2 out in the 2nd. Infield hit by Hector Gomez. And the home run ball in the 4th by Ramirez. And that is it in terms of hits. Holmberg 1 run, 2 hits in 6. Sam LeCure a quick and easy 7-pitch 7th. Ondrusek ready to come on and work the 8th. Ludwig stays alive. Again tomorrow, the final meeting of the year in Milwaukee between these two teams as we look at Cozart on deck. Mike Leake, who won his 11th his last time out, trying for victory number 12 tomorrow. He's making his 4th start against the Brewers this year against Matt Garza. Trying to recover from a month-long stint on the disabled list. Things have not gone well for him since being activated. After the strikeout of Ludwig, out number 2. Reds will be seeing Garza for the 3rd time this year. That's tomorrow in the 2:10 game. Here's what we're talking about for tomorrow. 7 and 8 Garza, 11 and 11 Leake. 1:30 with Reds live. 2:10 first pitch. Reds won't see Miller Park again until next April. Brewers, of course, part of the final homestand for the Reds. After the off day that comes up on the 22nd, upon the completion of this road trip, Milwaukee in for 3, 23rd through the 25th. Pittsburgh for 3, 26th through the 28th. That'll be it for Reds baseball in 2014. Gomez makes the play. Cozart retired. Inning over, but the Reds add another run. In the middle of the 8th, they lead it 5-1.
First look at the lineups, features, interviews, so much more. This Reds Live, the pregame edition, is brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. I'm Jim Day. Now, whether this correlates to the success in tonight's game or not, who knows? Baseball's a tough game to figure out. But just an observation today was as loose as I've seen this Reds team all season long. Laughing in the clubhouse, joking around, it extended out into batting practice where as a group they were just in a circle, and I don't know if they were telling jokes or what they were doing, but they were having a good old time today. And for a team that's been pressing and pressing and pressing some more this year, with guys out with injury, guys trying to do too much, it was nice to see them being loose. And whether that translates to the field or not, I'm not sure, but I'm sure Brian Price would like to bottle it up.
You know, Jim, I think it has to do with the college football season. There was a lot of jabs being thrown around at each other about various teams that players like or don't like, the state that they're from, and how that team is done. Maybe that loosened them up a little bit.
Might also be called no pressure.
Scooter Gennett pinch hits here in the bottom of the 8th. And LeCure only threw, 7 pitches in that 7th inning. Goes back out there for a rarity, a 2nd inning worth of work. Working on Scooter Gennett, the regular second baseman for this club. Hitting .295 on the year with 9 homers, 52 RBIs. Batting for Jimmy Nelson. Routine fly ball to right. Bruce makes the play. 1 out. That will be Carlos Gomez. He's had a heck of a day, to be sure.
Well, it started with him on the base pass, stealing on what his ball for, and he's pointing to Brandon Phillips saying, I know you got the glove in there, and a spin and a miss, and how about another spin and a miss? This time he's going to take it out of his helmet. Take that, helmet. I'm going into timeout right now.
Angry look right there.
Now he's back from timeout. Maybe he settled down a little bit. Maybe they've taken the Mountain Dew away from him.
Gave it to Billy Hamilton. What's in your refrigerator, Jim Day asked, that people might not think is in there that you need in there? And the answer, Mountain Dew. Tom Gorzolani is throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen. Gomez 0 for 2 in this game, 0 for 6 in the series. Eleven Brewers have been retired in a row since Maldonado drew a walk in the 4th inning from Holmberg. Right here. 3rd walk given up by Reds pitching. They bring Braun to the plate with 1 on, 1 out, and a 5-1 Reds lead. Andrusik has continued to throw in the pen, so he's ready to go should he be needed. Here's Braun. Home run he hit Thursday night. Tied him with Prince Fielder, 2nd all-time in Brewers franchise history on the home run list. He now has 230 career home runs. The home run leader for the Brewers is Robin Yount. Double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. Inning-ending twin killing. 2nd turn by the Reds tonight. We head to the 9th here in Milwaukee. Follow Reds reporter Kevin Goheen from FoxSportsOhio.com on Twitter at FSOhio_KGoheen for the latest news and stories on your Cincinnati Reds. There's Kevin. 2 innings of shutout relief for Sam LeCure. Nicely done by the right-hander. And now as we move into the 9th inning, another former Pirate starter, Tom Gorzolani, second one we've seen tonight along with Zach Duke, becomes the 4th pitcher for Milwaukee.
Gallardo did not pitch all that badly. Got a quality start out of it. 19 in a year for him. 6 innings, a 2-run ball. Then Duke, Jimmy Nelson came in. Duke gave up a couple of runs. Nelson gave up 1, and now Tom Gorzolani. Pretty nifty earned run average there at 0.4. He didn't come back and start the season, Gorzolani, until June the 14th, recovering from shoulder surgery. They must have did a nice job on him because he hasn't given up squats since he's been activated.
Well, their relief corps came into this game in terms of their numbers at 3.69 on the year, giving up 3 runs in 2 innings in this game. 2 in 1 inning by Duke, 1 in the 1 inning work by Jimmy Nelson. Now it's Gorzolani to work the 9th. Chris Heisey pinch hits for LeCure to lead things off. Keep your eye on this guy now. When he comes off the bench to bat, he is at his most dangerous. 4 pinch hit home runs this year. Hamilton on deck, then Pena. Big hit really in this game was the 2-run triple by Billy Hamilton in the 7th. Give the Reds a little breathing room. Added to it with the RBI single by Mesoraco in the 8th. Lead here 5-1 in the 9th. Hamilton, from an offensive standpoint, along with Frazier, go-to guys in this one, and certainly David Holmberg on the pitching side. Jumbo Diaz, his first major league decision last night, a loss. Throwing in the Reds bullpen. Heisey down on strikes. That will be Billy Hamilton. How about a John Morrell hot dog play of the game off the bat of Billy Hamilton in the 7th. Pitched by Zach Duke. He cracked this thing, and as soon as it got by the outfielders, there's no doubt that's going to be 3 bases.
Well, he cracks it, and he cracked the game wide open. That was the 2 spot the Reds needed in the 7th inning. They had scored 2 in the 4th and added 1 more here in the 8th, and up 4 now.
8th triple of the year for Billy Hamilton. Gotta say, I'm a little surprised that he has not gotten an inside the park home run this year. I really thought we'd see that.
I did too. Well, not too late.
No, no, not at all. Still 2 weeks to go. Talked last night about the fact that of his 6 home runs this year, 4 have come against Milwaukee, 3 in this ballpark. And there's only 1 from the right side.
Well, you need a little luck. You know, you need a bad carom off the wall normally for an inside the parker, or an exceptionally large outfield. Of course, this home ballpark is rather small. That does not lend itself to inside the parkers unless you get a weird bounce off one of the walls.
Those angles here out in left center and right center where the Meyer signs are, that you could get a funny bounce and run for a while.
And the other way sometimes you get them is when outfielders run into each other and neither of them catch the ball, and the ball kind of trickles away and they're slow getting up. It's a matter of time.
Hamilton came into this game 1 for his last 16. He went 0 for 3 until he got the 3-base hit.
I still think he gets a Rookie of the Year despite the fact he doesn't have it inside the parker. What do you think? Be
a big part of it. And I'm still, rooting with my heart for Billy Hamilton to get the award, and I think he certainly has deserved it. His numbers offensively, there's no one that compares to him.
Not even close.
No. And he can keep that average above 260 in the end. I believe that he will get the award.
Well, he's at 259 right now. I like this comment that he had with Jim Day when Jim asked him about, does he think about it? And he was honest. He said, yeah, but I don't think about it every day. He doesn't want to put that kind of pressure on himself every day. He wants to rather go out and just do what he normally does, which is just play ball.
Here he is down on strikes. Braun tracks this. Reds go in order for the first time since the second inning, and that sets the stage now for the bottom of the ninth. Going in, the Reds up 5-1. Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Chevy. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, who ranks third in the country on U.S. News and World Report's 2014 Best Children's Hospitals. Beautiful ballpark here in Milwaukee, Miller Park. Sellout tonight of 45,205. Their 13th sellout of the year. They're averaging about 34,000 a game this year, up around 3,500 or so per game from a year ago. And they finished woefully out of the pennant race. New outfield for the Reds is Chris Heisey. He stays in after pinch hitting. He takes over for Ryan Ludwig at left. And the new man on the mound took the loss last night, trying to close it out here tonight, Jumbo Diaz.
Now, they've got a big lead right here for Jumbo, 4 runs overall. And if the score holds the way it is, it'll be only the second time since August the 28th that the Reds have won a ball game by more than 3 runs.
So going on 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, this is really kind of a blowout. I'm going to look at it like that, although Jumbo better not think of it like that.
Well, counting last night, they played 58 one-run games. Putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen right there.
Sure is. And so far in the year, you know, Jumbo's been one of the bright spots. He really has. He came up 30 years old in spring training this year. A lot of people looked at him and said, man, this guy is throwing 100 miles an hour. He's never been in the big leagues before. Then you hear the story about him, how much weight he has lost, how hard it was for him to get down to a weight where he could actually perform regularly. And he came up here and had very good stage presence in tight situations. So here he is pitching in a winning ball game in the 9th inning again.
Not a save situation, but trying to close it out for David Holmberg. And if he can do that, it'll be the first big league win for the 23-year-old.
Well, the only difference between this and a save situation is that little S next to your name in the box score. As far as Holmberg is concerned, this is a save situation. And as far as Jumbo is concerned, ditto.
Sam LeCure bridged the gap between Holmberg and Diaz with 2 shutout innings of relief. Maybe the best work that he has done in quite a while. Holmberg 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. The lone run, the home run ball by Aramis Ramirez. 2 walks, 4 Ks. That's after getting off to an absolutely horrible start. And he hit the first batter, Gomez, then walked Braun on 4. That is strike 3 called, according to Dale Scott. Lucroy thought it was a little bit low. Back to the dugout he goes.
Yeah, right on the knees on the block. Lucroy doesn't like it. Hey, Our Lady on Cholula likes it. That's our flamethrower of the night at 96 from Jumbo.
So 1 out. Here's Aramis Ramirez. Last time he came up against Holmberg, that was in the bottom of the 6th inning. Had an opportunity to tie this game. He hit the ball deep and almost into the same spot in which he had homered. This one came up a bit shy and Hamilton caught it. I think you said he hit it off the end of the bat. So in this game, 1 for 2 with the long ball. He'd been hit by a pitch. Chris Davis is on deck.
Well, the Brewers have been complaining. Jack Hanahan complained vehemently last night about the strike zone by Dan Iasogna. This crew has been reinventing the low strike. I kind of like it.
There's Dan from last night. In the air to Hamilton. And there are 2 out. Well, the last crack for the Brewers given to Chris Davis. Reds an out away from evening this series, snapping the Brewers' 3-game winning streak. They go into the day 4 games out.
And the Pirates are being beaten in the 9th inning by the Cubs 6-3. The Cardinals are on the verge of putting away the Rockies 5-1 in the 9th.
So a beneficial day for St. Louis if the Reds can finish things off here. Davis 0 for 3 in this game. He's flied out, struck out, grounded out. But it's his play out in left field that has benefited the Reds more than anything today. They've run on him a couple of times. Ball and a strike. Holmberg. 2 strikes, 1 out away from his first major league win. Jumbo trying to put the finishing touches on it. Two hits for the Brewers in this game. That equals their lowest offensive output hit-wise this year. And only 2 hits on April the 2nd in their opening series against the Atlanta Braves. And at least right now, they've been held to 2 hits by the Reds on Saturday, September the 13th. One of those a home run, the other an infield hit. Just staying alive is Chris Davis. Got him. Reds win on a called 3rd strike against Chris Davis as David Holmberg, the 23-year-old born in Houston, grew up in Florida, gets his first big league win, a 5-1 victory here this evening in Milwaukee over the Brewers, going 6 innings of 1-run, 2-hit baseball. Jumbo Diaz closes it out with a 1-2-3 ninth, a strikeout looking of Chris Davis to end it. And this series here in Milwaukee, even at a game and a piece, the rubber game tomorrow afternoon. 5-1 final, the Reds a winner. Stay with us now. Reds Live post game presented by Performance Kings Honda comes up next.